Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a simple truth most people never confront. Your life is not controlled by events. It is controlled by how you respond to them. Two people can face the same challenge. One breaks, the other becomes unshakable. The difference is not luck. It is not talent. It is mental mastery. Today is about learning how to train yourself to be unbothered, not careless, not disconnected, but grounded, focused, and internally powerful. Because the moment you master your mind, you master your life. Unbothered is a skill, not a personality trait. Most people grow up believing that emotional control is something you either have or you don't. They assume calm people were simply born that way, while reactive people are stuck with their nature. That belief alone keeps millions trapped in frustration. The truth is, no one arrives in this world emotionally disciplined. Every reaction you have today was learned, reinforced, and practiced over time. If reactions can be learned, they can also be unlearned. Being unbothered is not an identity you inherit. It is a skill you build deliberately through repetition and awareness. From childhood, you were trained to respond automatically. Stress taught you to tense up. Criticism taught you to defend yourself. Conflict taught you to react before thinking. Over time, these reactions became habits, and habits became personality labels. But personality is not permanent, it is programmable. Each time you interrupt an automatic reaction, you weaken its grip. Each time you choose composure over chaos, you are literally rewiring how your mind and nervous system operate under pressure. Training yourself to be unbothered begins with understanding that discomfort is part of the process. At first, it feels unnatural to pause instead of reacting. Your body will urge you to speak, to prove, to defend. But growth always feels uncomfortable before it feels powerful. That moment of pause, just a few seconds of control, is where transformation happens. In that pause, you reclaim authority over your emotions instead of handing it to circumstances or people. As you practice this skill, something powerful shifts inside you. You stop identifying with your emotions and start observing them. Anger becomes information, not a command. Stress becomes a signal, not a sentence. You realize emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent rulers. This separation gives you space to think clearly, decide intentionally, and act in alignment with who you want to become rather than how you feel in the moment. Over time, being unbothered becomes your default state, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You don't need perfect conditions to feel calm anymore. You carry calm with you. That is the real advantage. When others are reactive, you are steady. When others are overwhelmed, you are composed. And that composure is not luck. It is the result of disciplined training practiced daily until control becomes second nature. What bothers you controls you. Most people don't realize how much power they give away every day. A careless comment, a delayed response, a look of disapproval, an unexpected problem, and suddenly their emotional state is hijacked. In that moment, they are no longer leading their life, they are reacting to it. Whatever has the ability to disturb your inner state has authority over you. This is not about blame, it is about awareness. The first step to freedom is recognizing where your power is leaking. When you allow external events to dictate your emotions, you live in a constant state of defense. Your mood rises and falls based on circumstances you cannot control. That kind of living is exhausting. It keeps you mentally busy but strategically weak. An unbothered person understands a critical truth. The world will always be unpredictable, but your response doesn't have to be. Control your response, and you reclaim control over your direction. Being unbothered does not mean pretending things don't matter. It means refusing to let small things dominate your mental space. When you stop reacting to every trigger, you create emotional boundaries. Those boundaries protect your focus, your energy, and your peace. Instead of being pulled into unnecessary battles, you choose where to invest yourself. This selective engagement is what separates leaders from reactors. The moment you stop being easily bothered, your thinking sharpens. Emotional noise fades and clarity rises. You start seeing situations as they are, not as your emotions exaggerate them to be. Decisions become cleaner, actions become deliberate, you move with intention instead of impulse. This mental clarity gives you a quiet confidence that doesn't need validation, approval, or control over others. Ultimately, mastery begins when you decide that your inner state is non-negotiable. No person, no situation, no opinion is worth sacrificing your stability. When you make that decision, something shifts. You stop chasing emotional reactions and start commanding respect, often without saying a word. Because when nothing controls you, everything aligns around you. Silence is a strategic advantage in a world where everyone feels the need to respond instantly. Silence has become rare and therefore powerful. Most people speak not because they have something meaningful to say, but because they feel uncomfortable with quiet. They rush to explain, defend, or justify themselves, believing that their worth depends on being understood. In reality, constant explanation weakens presence. Silence, when chosen intentionally, communicates confidence, self-trust, and emotional control. Silence creates space, and space creates leverage. When you do not react immediately, you force situations to reveal themselves. You allow emotions to settle, facts to surface, and intentions to become clear. While others expose their insecurities through overreaction, you gather information. This pause is not avoidance. It is strategic observation. The strongest position in any interaction is the ability to wait. Many people fear silence because they associate it with losing, but silence is only loss when it comes from fear. When it comes from strength, it becomes authority. Not every provocation deserves engagement. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. When you stop trying to control how others perceive you, you gain control over how you perceive yourself. That internal alignment makes external validation irrelevant. Silence also protects your energy. Words cost focus, emotional labor, and attention. When you speak unnecessarily, you drain resources that could be used to build, plan, and execute. Unbothered individuals conserve their energy for what truly matters. They choose precision over volume. When they speak, it carries weight because it is rare, intentional, and grounded. Over time, people begin to feel your presence before you say anything. Your calm becomes noticeable. Your restraint becomes respected. Silence, used wisely, shifts dynamics without confrontation. It allows you to move through chaos untouched, remaining centered while others exhaust themselves reacting. That is not weakness. That is mastery in its quietest, most powerful form. Emotional discipline creates mental clarity. Most people believe their biggest problem is a lack of intelligence, opportunity, or resources. In reality, their greatest obstacle is emotional overload. When emotions run unchecked, even the smartest minds make poor decisions. Stress clouds judgment, anger narrows perspective, fear exaggerates threats. Emotional discipline is not about suppressing feelings. It is about preventing them from hijacking your thinking. An undisciplined emotional state creates mental noise. Thoughts race, focus scatters, and clarity disappears. You start reacting to urgency instead of importance. Emotional discipline slows the internal chaos. It allows you to separate what you feel from what you need to do. That separation is critical. When emotions are in control, you chase relief. When discipline is in control, you pursue results. The unbothered mind operates differently under pressure. Instead of collapsing, it stabilizes. Instead of panicking, it prioritizes. This does not happen by accident. It comes from repeated exposure to discomfort combined with conscious restraint. Each time you remain composed in a stressful moment, you strengthen the mental muscle that produces clarity. Over time, pressure stops being a threat and starts becoming a performance enhancer. Mental clarity is what allows you to see options where others see obstacles. When emotions are regulated, perception expands. You notice patterns, consequences, and opportunities that reactive minds miss. This clarity gives you an unfair advantage in decisions, relationships, and leadership. You are no longer controlled by the moment. You are directing it. Ultimately, emotional discipline turns chaos into order. It creates a calm internal environment where logic, creativity, and strategy can function at their highest level. When your emotions are disciplined, your mind becomes sharp. When your mind is sharp, your actions become precise. And when your actions are precise, your life begins to move forward with intention and power. Detachment is not indifference. It is strength. Many people misunderstand detachment and assume it means not caring, not feeling, or disconnecting from life. In truth, detachment is one of the highest forms of strength. It means you care deeply, but you refuse to let emotions cloud your judgment or derail your direction. You stay involved without being consumed. This balance allows you to remain effective even in situations that are emotionally charged or unpredictable. When you are overly attached to outcomes, opinions, or approval, your emotions become fragile. Every setback feels personal. Every disagreement feels threatening. Detachment removes that vulnerability. It allows you to see situations as they are, not as your emotions dramatize them. You stop taking everything as a reflection of your worth and start seeing events as part of a larger process of growth and learning. Detachment gives you the freedom to move forward when others are stuck emotionally. While others replay conversations, relive disappointments, and seek validation, you conserve your mental energy. That energy can then be invested in improvement, strategy, and execution. You are not cold, you are focused. You are not distant, you are disciplined. This distinction is what separates strength from apathy. An unbothered person understands that emotions are powerful but temporary. They do not build their identity around how they feel in a moment. Instead, they anchor themselves to values, purpose, and long-term vision. This anchoring creates emotional stability. Even when situations change, your inner foundation remains steady. You bend without breaking, adapt without losing direction. Over time, detachment builds resilience. You become harder to manipulate, harder to provoke, and harder to derail, not because you shut down, but because you rise above emotional turbulence. You respond instead of react. You choose progress over drama, and that ability to stay centered while staying engaged is the quiet strength that allows you to master both your mind and your life. Your inner dialogue shapes your emotional state. Every emotion you experience is first introduced by a thought. Before anger rises, a sentence is spoken in your mind. Before fear tightens your chest, a story is repeated internally. Most people live on autopilot, unaware that their inner dialogue is constantly shaping their emotional reality. They assume feelings just happen to them, not realizing those feelings are being produced by the language they use with themselves every day. If your inner dialogue is harsh, reactive, or dramatic, your emotional state will mirror that chaos. A single negative sentence repeated often enough becomes a belief, and beliefs drive behavior. When you speak to yourself with doubt or urgency, your nervous system responds as if danger is present. Over time, this creates chronic stress and emotional instability. The mind believes what it hears most frequently, and it hears your voice more than any other. Training yourself to be unbothered requires conscious leadership over your self-talk. You don't argue with your mind, you direct it. You replace exaggerated narratives with grounded instructions. Instead of "this is overwhelming," you say "handle this step by step." Instead of "I can't deal with this," you say "stay calm and respond." These shifts may seem small, but repeated consistently, they rewire emotional responses at a deep level. An empowered inner dialogue creates emotional order. When your internal voice is steady, your emotions settle. You stop escalating situations internally before they escalate externally. This calm inner leadership allows you to remain composed even when circumstances are challenging. You become the authority in your own mind, not a passenger dragged by impulsive thoughts. Over time, your inner dialogue becomes a stabilizing force. In moments of pressure, your mind doesn't panic. It guides. In moments of conflict, it doesn't attack, it centers. This internal discipline creates emotional resilience and mental clarity. When you control the conversation within, the world outside loses its power to disturb you. Being unbothered makes you dangerous in the best way. When you train yourself to be unbothered, something shifts in how you show up in the world. You stop being emotionally predictable. Pressure no longer exposes your weaknesses, it reveals your strength. While others react impulsively, you remain steady. This stability makes you formidable, not because you overpower others, but because you are not easily moved by them. Calm becomes your advantage in environments where chaos is the norm. An unbothered person operates from internal authority rather than external validation. You no longer need approval to feel secure or reactions to feel important. This independence is powerful. It frees you to act based on principles instead of emotions. People sense this self-sufficiency immediately. They may not understand it, but they respect it. Your presence carries weight because it is grounded, not reactive. Under pressure, most people collapse or overcompensate. The unbothered individual does neither. You listen more carefully, observe more deeply, and respond with precision. This makes you exceptionally effective in critical moments. Whether in leadership, negotiation, or personal challenges, your composure gives you clarity when others lose it. That clarity allows you to make decisions that shape outcomes instead of being shaped by them. Being unbothered also protects you from manipulation. Emotional reactions are entry points for control. When others cannot provoke, rush, or guilt you into responding, their leverage disappears. You choose your actions rather than being pushed into them. This does not make you rigid. It makes you intentional. You move with purpose instead of pressure. Over time, this inner stability transforms how others interact with you. Drama avoids you. Respect gravitates toward you. Opportunities align with you, not because you demand them, but because you embody reliability and strength. Being unbothered does not make you distant. It makes you decisive. And that quiet decisiveness is what makes you powerful in the best possible way. Master the moment, and you master your life. Life is not shaped by one dramatic decision, but by thousands of small moments where you either take control or give it away. Every moment presents a choice. React automatically or respond intentionally. Most people live at the mercy of impulse, letting emotions decide their actions. Mastering the moment means slowing down time just enough to choose wisely. That single pause changes everything. The present moment is where power lies. You cannot control the past and you cannot act in the future, but you can command what you do right now. When you stay grounded in the moment, emotions lose their ability to overwhelm you. You are no longer dragged by regret or anxiety. You are anchored in clarity. This presence allows you to act with precision rather than panic. Mastering the moment requires awareness and discipline. You notice the rise of emotion without immediately obeying it. You breathe, observe, and then decide. This practice strengthens self-control over time. What once felt difficult becomes natural. The more you master small moments, the less dramatic your life becomes, because you stop creating unnecessary conflict through reaction. Consistency in these moments compounds into mastery. One calm response leads to another. One disciplined choice reinforces the next. Over weeks and months, this practice reshapes your identity. You become known not just to others, but to yourself, as someone who is steady, reliable, and grounded under pressure. This self-trust is priceless. When you master the moment, you master your direction. Your actions align with your values instead of your moods. Your decisions build progress instead of damage control. Life stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling intentional. This is how true control is built quietly, moment by moment, until mastery becomes your way of living.